Welcome to Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Dr. RC will empower, encourage, and strengthen you. She will help you to soar to your highest potential while instilling hope. Please welcome the host of Dare to Soar, Dr. RC.
Great Saturday morning, everyone. I am so excited that you have decided to join me, Dr. RC, Dare to Soar this morning. Oh, what an exciting topic that I'm going to be sharing with you this morning. Voices at the ballot. Why the future of social work depends on the vote. But right before we get into our topic, I want to read a bit about my guest that I'm going to have with me this morning, Dr. Renata Hedrington Jones. Let me tell you about this exceptional individual, but I'm just going to give you just a taste because all that she has accomplished, I just couldn't tell you about it in this one setting. So I'm just going to give you a teaser. She's a proud graduate of McKinley High School in Washington, D.C. She also attributes her foundation of strength and community commitment to her early education. She holds a PhD in Human Services Administration in 2015 and a Master's in Policy Administration 2021 from Walden University, an MSW from Virginia Commonwealth University in 1987, and a BA in Social Work from Virginia Intermount College in 1975. An ordained lifelong social worker, Dr. Hedrington Jones has served in the field since 1974 across corrections, community mental health, adoptions, public education, and residential services. She is currently core faculty in Walden University's MSW program and a firm advocate in equity, inclusion, diversity, and social justice. Her leadership includes service as National Vice President of NASW, faculty at Virginia Commonwealth, Virginia State, and Longwood Universities. Involvement with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in education advocacy initiatives. Now, but that's not all. She's lobbied on Capitol Hill representing Virginia School Social Workers Association and the National Association of Black Social Workers, promoting awareness of social workers' role in shaping national policy. Dr. Hedrington Jones' research has received national and international recognition, including a Walden University faculty research grant supporting work presented at the International Coalition of Children Incarcerated Parents Conference in the UK. Her honors include the NIA Lifetime Achievement Award, hosted by NABSW 50th Anniversary, Walden University Presidential Award for Faculty's Excellence, and Black Excellence Award from Richmond Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Recently elected president of NABSW, Dr. Hedrington Jones continues to embody principles of advocacy, scholarship, and service, believing deeply in reciprocity and continuing the legacy of the ancestors. Dare to Soar family, please help me in welcoming my guest this morning, Dr. Renata Hedrington Jones. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing wonderfully well. Thank you so much for having me. And I don't know what all that was you said and who you were talking about, but I say that every time because I don't know where I get the time from, but I'm blessed and favored to be able to serve. So good morning to you, and I bring you greetings from NABSW.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. I'm going to try to contain myself because, social work is at the heartbeat, the heartstrings, what runs through my veins. But when we talk about this topic, whew, boy, I feel myself getting already heated up. But I'm going to let you take the wheel and the man upstairs take the wheel too, because this climate, this topic is so vitally important and critical. Now, with that being said, I'm going to roll off with this first question. As the current president of NABSW, how do you see the connection between civic engagement, social justice, and the core mission of the association?
Woo, woo, woo. NABSW, the National Association of Black Social Workers, began in 1968 as a response to other social workers who felt that those incidents occurring during the civil rights era were not important enough to consider the impact on the Black community. And it was to be business as usual, not acknowledging those specific needs. That resulted in a group of Black social workers walking out of that meeting. And they walked out with a purpose in mind, intentional in mind, that we have to serve our people. We can serve and work with everybody, but you must consider everybody. When you talk about ethnicity, religion, lifestyles, that matters in the being of a person. It matters when they have specific problems. It didn't matter in 1968 because Black people have always been excluded. We did all of these things for integration. Now we all know we've been identified as having Black jobs, whatever that is. That's what we've not ever been thought of as worthy of an education, worthy of employment, worthy of any of the things that other people consider normal. People who are not Americans can come and get jobs. They can come and go to school. They can come and run for office. They can come and be in the military. And I remember hearing my mother and my auntie and them talk about when my uncles went into the military, they came back home, they weren't treated very well. And it was because they were Black, but they were Black enough and good enough to go fight a war. But they weren't good enough, but Black enough not to receive services. So those things have defined our society and our community. And I think I was raised in DC. And one thing that you learn, we didn't have home rule. There are many people that don't know that. Reverend Walter Fauntleroy, when we were marching and fighting for home rule, I went to Howard back in the summer, and a young man was introduced to me as being a student at UDC, which is the University of District of Columbia. And I said to him, I'm in love with Marion Barry. I always will be, and you should be too. And he asked me, who was he? Marion Barry was more than the mayor of DC. He started Federal City College so that Black kids in DC would have a college to go to. Because of the way DC was operated, we were more than likely not to be accepted at colleges, and the people they focused on were high IQs, the honor students, but the normal student was discarded because DC schools were not considered up to par. That continues, but those are the things that cause us to know those ill treatment, mistreatment, racism causes us to know as Black social workers, we must empower and encourage our own people. We don't, you must be of African ancestry, and we like to think of it as our family reunion. Because we have to talk about the injustices and what social justices we need to advocate and encourage and talk about and educate. And so that is why we exist. Social justice is number one, but we also function under the principles of Ma'at. And so that works for us as a people. Reciprocity, honesty, trust. And the one thing that we have gotten away from is being a family. And so we bring the family back together. We teach the family that it's time to take off the mask. It's time to realize the importance and significance of us as a people. And it is time to realize that the political arena requires us to change it. So that's what I love about NABSW. My mother gave me fight when I was a child, and I will continue to do that. And NABSW is one of the most phenomenal organizations in the world.
Mm. Now, you gave us a whole lot of nuggets in that question, a whole lot, and a whole lot to hold on to. But I thank you for your transparency, because oftentimes we don't speak truth to power. And it's critical and important to speak those things, because we have to have understanding. A lot of times there is not courage behind words,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
it has to be courage behind words, because it's not about everyone not understanding, because
mhm.
if we all have to work together, and
Yes.
that's not what Dr. Hedrington Jones, she's not saying that. So let me be clear, audience, that's not what she's saying. You have to have that understanding. But she did put a great deal of content behind that. So I want to put that out there, because she's going to dig a bit deeper in this interview. So hold on.
Mhm.
So my next question to you, and I know we're probably going to dive into a commercial break, but I want to get started in it because it digs into the title of this conversation: Voices at the Ballot. Let me say it again: Voices at the Ballot. Why the future of social work depends on the vote speaks to both urgency and empowerment. What
Yes.
does that statement mean to you personally and professionally? Now, I did say we're probably going to run into a commercial, but I want you to go ahead and get started. And if audience is dare to soar and we have to go to a commercial break, I promise you we'll break, but she will respond to it when we come back if we have to go to a commercial break. So go ahead and get started, please.
Okay, so for urgency, there are a lot of things that happen before we are permitted to vote as
Mm,
citizens of the US of A.
mm,
That's voter registration.
mm,
It is urgent that we do that.
mhm,
It's urgent that we help those individuals who do not realize that their rights to vote can be restored.
mm,
It's urgent. Um, some states, it's a small process. Some states, it's a longer, purposeful process. That is the urgency. It is urgent that as social workers, that we inform the world that Black people in America are not the only people who receive public assistance.
mm,
Okay? It is urgent that we fight for everybody to receive those benefits that they currently receive,
mhm,
that they not be removed, they not lose their benefits, because if we do that, we will kill our own.
mhm,
Food stamps are necessary for people to eat.
mhm,
Judgment is when we decide what they eat.
mhm,
That is not right. Some people have never been poor enough not to have food,
mhm.
but some people have been budget conscious enough that they don't eat what everybody else eats. So we got to think about that as a social justice movement. I remember with Medicaid when they didn't get dental work,
Mhm.
they didn't get eyeglasses and vision. And I remember my cousin who had cancer, she had breast cancer, and they transported them on buses that looked like prison buses. They had the
Mhm.
gates and everything on the side of them, and they only had one hospital in DC
Mm,
that served people who received what's the equivalent of Medicaid.
mhm.
We don't want to go back. We don't want babies dying. You know, mortality rates are of a concern
Yes.
right now. We do not want to see death amongst anyone. So we must stand together. NABSW and NASW, we do things together. Our
Mhm,
themes match together. This is Breast Cancer Month. We don't say, oh, it's only for Black people or it's
mhm,
only for white people. We say it's for people to be
mhm,
empowered and receive the care that they need as breast cancer survivors, as walking with breast cancer. Um, we do sickle cell because that is the majority of people impacted are Black people, African American people. So I don't want anybody to say, oh, they just only work with Black people. our membership for African American. That is what is significant to us. But
And Dr. Hedrington Jones, I'm going to have to pause you right there. Please hold on to that because this is so critical and pertinent information. And I'm so glad that you brought that point out. Dare to Soar listeners, do not go away. We will be right back. I hope you're getting all this. Go and get you some more coffee, get that tea, that water. We will be right back. I'm telling you, these nuggets you don't want to miss. Sharpen those pencils, get those pens. She's laying it down for you. Be right back.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back. I have returned. Voices at the Ballot. I know that my guest, president of NABSW, I know she was dropping all those nuggets, and I know you were trying to get down all of the information that she was dropping for you. But guess what? She has returned. She's going to pick back up with this conversation. Why is the future so important for social workers? Hey, she's going to jump right back in and giving it to you. So please continue, Dr. Hedrington Jones. Let them have it. Give it to them.
So we also think about Medicare. Medicare is a paid benefit that all of us who've worked in America, we pay for Medicare. Nobody's giving you anything that is rightfully yours. Medicare, look on your paychecks. It's either going to say Medicare or FICA. It's your money. Nobody's giving you anything. It's not for leeches or anything. It's for people who have earned it. And if your parents, if a child's parents die, they become eligible because the parents worked. Some kids with disabilities can use Medicare. And what I want people to understand, how important it is for us to see everybody as equals. And when you go to the ballot, you don't vote racism, discrimination, judgmental. You vote for the life of mankind. Because we are fighting for our lives right now. Jobs. They just called me yesterday. I couldn't help the lady. She needs $4,000 or they're going to evict her tomorrow morning. First of all, a demon would evict somebody on a Sunday. But she was out of work. And then if she makes too much under the table, she can go to jail. So you got to look at all of these factors we put in place to not allow people to progress. That is what we talk about, but we are distracted with foolishness. So we have to vote. It's not about voting party. It's about voting people.
Yes.
Where are they going to live? Do you know that a large number of our veterans are homeless? Not because they are leeches and want to play the system. It's because they have mental health issues, but you want to cut the mental health money? They need services. There's not one of us in America that doesn't have a relative that served in the military. And I did in one of the books, I wrote a dedication to my uncle who was in the Korean War. And back then, they didn't call it PTSD, they called it shell shock.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when he heard the sirens, he would take off running, just take off running, screaming, and hollering, and maybe they could catch him. I said, Uncle Caesar, I'm sorry. I'm sorry
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
He loved us, but they didn't explain it to us so that we could understand. He saw people blown to pieces, brain spattering, hitting his skin, and he could not process it. But we said he was shell shocked. Shell shock sounds negative to me. And so, why did he do what he did? Because he felt strongly about being an American. He was an African American who fought. So when we think about all the services that are being pushed out, moved away, discarded, who's going to take care of those people? My uncle spent his time in and out of mental hospitals. I'm sorry, I thought I had that off. He spent his time in and out of mental hospitals. He could go to the VA if they had a bed,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a large possibility he would go to a hospital that they called DC General. And it looked like an old prison camp, and it looked like those old movies when you see this mental health facilities, big cinder block buildings and all of that. So don't our veterans deserve better? So when we are talking about going to the ballot box, we're not thinking about ourselves because, if you're a millionaire, you don't have to worry about tomorrow's meal or whether or not your house note's going to be paid. You don't have to worry about those things. We have to worry about it because everybody is subject to have a problem. Mental health. Under mental health comes many things. It has nothing to do with the way it's explained. And I believe in my heart, if somebody stood before some of those committees on Capitol Hill and explained mental health, the vote would be different. When you don't know, you can go to a private hospital or have a wing of your house set up so the doctors come to you. How do you know about mental health? Medications. You can't afford your medication. I take a pain med and I have a pain patch, and it really, really works. And so my friend tried to get the medication, and she pays for her insurance. She's not Medicaid. She's not Medicare. Her insurance company denied it because they said it would cost too much.
Wow.
So we have to think about now, what are we giving our clients and communities? If somebody who's going to pay for it is charged $500, they don't have to pay a large copay. But what are we giving them? Is it what they should take? Is it healthy for them to take it? What is it? So we got to think about that. And so that's part of social justice. Social justice is not just having what everybody else has. It's having what's right for you, what's best for you, what's going to your life. Again, when we go to the box to vote, we're voting for life.
Mm,
And it's not about whether or not I think that you're just taking time away from everybody else or taking money. It's about life
mm,
and sustaining life. So I just believe that people need to know when they go to vote, the process. How many people did you take to be registered? How many people did you help fill out their application for restoration of rights? How many people are you taking to the polls? And why are so many people threatened by the dollar?
mm. And with that, it is time for another commercial break. So here are some points as to why you need to be at that ballot box. When we return, we'll have more to share.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. You know, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back once again. Yes, I am Dr. RC, and this is Dare to Soar. I'm here with my guest, President of NABSW, Dr. Renata Hedrington Jones. And what is she speaking about? Voting at the ballot. Why the future of social work depends on the vote. I know that she's dropping so many great nuggets. I hope that you've gotten that coffee, that tea, that water, refreshed yourself. I hope that you're rejuvenized, re-energized as well as she's sharing all of these things. I want to continue on. It seems like, gosh, our time is running by so quickly, but I have some definitely pressing questions that I want to embed in your spirit, your soul, in your minds, all of those things that's going to push you to the polls. So with that being said, in what ways does voter suppression, I'll say, or political disenfranchisement, disproportionality impact on the communities social workers serve? And how is NABSW responding to those challenges?
You know, as social workers, we always need documentation.
Mm,
If it's not
mm,
documented, it didn't happen.
mm, 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 mm.
And for documentation, you know, we need a birth certificate.
Phew.
And some places you can't walk in and get a birth certificate. Now, I
Mm,
say this with a level of pride. I live in Virginia.
mhm,
You can get your birth certificate from DMV. When
mm.
you go into DMV to handle business, they have it so you can get your birth certificate. That's a
Wow.
plus because there have been times when you have to mail it, they got to process it. It takes 7 to 21 days, but you can get it in one day in Virginia.
Mm.
We also, voter suppression is when you make it difficult for people to have what they need to vote. I was at the Congressional Black Caucus, and one of the speakers mentioned um, a lot of people don't know what voter suppression is because they don't understand the language, like Jim Crow. Do people really know what the Jim Crow laws were? If they don't know what that was, they don't know what the comparison is when it's being made. Do people actually know what marginalization is? When you vote, you got to show your ID. A lot of people, they might have an ID, but it's not 100% guaranteed. How do we help people get their IDs? Because these are sophisticated tactics of voter suppression, making things more challenging and difficult than they have to be. Do you remember when you didn't have to apply for a child's social security card until they were 5 or 6 years old? Now you apply for their social security cards in the hospital. Anything to make the task more challenging is voter suppression. People with disabilities, are we guaranteeing that all of them get to the polls? Well, we can do many states allow you to mail in, but some people see value in their physical self going to the polls. It's a stand. They don't want to be like a hidden secret. They want to go and stand for the right that somebody fought for them to vote. So when you talk about making all of these ID laws and restricting mail-in voting and being very aggressive with your tactics, we are not at war with ourselves as American people, but we are, because you find out ways to aggravate, irritate, discriminate, and you say it's the right thing. And I always think about, when you read your history, you want to remove the Black history out of the schools because you don't want anybody to be accountable for what was done to Black people in America. I was raised and taught by teachers in Washington, D.C., who believed to teach by any means necessary. My math teacher, Sally R. Tilford, she'd get up early in the morning, go to all the 7-Elevens until she had enough tax booklets. The tax booklets were kind of big, until she had enough for all of her math classes. So we were doing taxes in junior high school. Why? Because she loved us enough to make sure we knew how the laws were, what the taxes were, etc. Now we're not even sure if we've certified all of our math teachers. But they didn't have a lot, but they did a lot with little. So the voter suppression, the idea of educating people, give Habari Ghani, what's the news? We need to give the news every day. The news that we currently see might not be what we need to hear. So we gotta know. I love it. Churches are doing voter registration.
They are.
They've been threatened, but they're doing voter registration. And what I would like to see happen is that churches don't permit people in the church who want to just come to church that 1 or 2 Sundays out the year when it's an election year, and they want to manipulate you to vote for them. They ain't got nothing to do with the pulpit, ain't got nothing to do with you going to church or heaven. Let them go on, let them stay out of the church, because they're using us when they do that. If you want to go to church, go. But just don't go because you want somebody to see your face and vote for you. I think that's manipulation. That's a strategy too. But voter suppression, we have to realize what it is first, Dr. R.C. Some people don't know what that is. So if you don't understand those tactics of mail-ins, IDs, and all that you go through and that you can't go to the right door, you got to go to the left door. If people don't understand those rules are put into place to be controlling, but to ensure that you don't vote. The young people, we dropped the ball. It's not their fault. It's our fault. We dropped the ball. So we didn't teach them well enough. All of my children, all 3 of them, and the other hundreds that I've adopted, they vote. So we have to push it. This time, we're voting for our lives.
Mm.
And we got to see it that way.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. It's time for another commercial break. I'll have a bit more to share. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
Mike Zoric, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zoric, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zoric has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Oh my gosh. Yes, this is Dare to Soar. I am Dr. RC. This time has gone by so quickly. So I'm not going to go through each and every single moment that we've gone through. But guess what, guys? I know that you've gotten so much out of this. So I want to dive right back in because what I have next is this. What are some of the most pressing policy issues social workers should be paying attention to as we approach this next election cycle? And I know they're probably, it's probably so heavily loaded, but can you hit those key?
Dr. RC, you are so right. We have so much that we should be paying attention to. Most and foremost, education.
Mm,
And I know somebody said, well, what about Medicaid? But education,
mm,
if you don't know, you can't grow.
mm,
If you don't know what those education bills are saying from K through 12 and higher ed and how it impacts our communities, it's a fallacy, it's a myth, it's a downright lie if you think Black people are the only one who get school loans.
mhm,
And when you put that out there, and even people who know they pay tuition for their children are following the fallacies that the money, but we all need to be educated. We all need to go back and fetch a Sankofa to know what our skill sets are. Because everybody is not college material, but we have a whole lot of vocations that we need people in. And we
mhm.
complain about who's doing it, but we're not doing it because they've taken it out of the schools. So we need to look at that. We also need to look at all of the social institutions, Medicaid, Medicare. Of course, we need to look at our curriculums.
Mhm.
We say in our Constitution about religion and speech, free speech, and all of this, and we're not adhering to our own Constitution. So we need to look at those policies that come by. I ain't mad at some of the stuff that has happened. The reason I'm not mad because we knew it was coming and we failed to do our part. What is the big bill? We knew that was coming. We knew it was coming, but we did nothing. We still voted so that it could happen. So we need to, most states and the federal government have legislative websites. It tells you all of the bills. It has a tracking system for all of the bills that you can follow. Even it has, in Virginia, we discovered that we had information, restoration of rights being held, which means they weren't being approved. And accordingly, you're supposed to have a time factor in there. So they ignored the time factor. But if you didn't know the policy, you don't know how to hold people accountable. We must hold people accountable. If you look, I hate it to look at the committee meetings at the federal level and the arguments they have. What they're talking about is all the things we do, taxes, who pays taxes. These are things that are important to us. Who pays the taxes? Taxes are supposed to funnel all of these services that social workers provide. Social workers have a great job of providing services, but we can't provide the services unless we have the money. And the money has to be from the government. People don't know what opting out is. States actually don't have to do what the federal government says. So look at the policies that they are opting out on. The policies we need to be paying close attention to right now are the abortion laws. People need to know. I just read that people up in the Northwest are being charged with murder because they transported people to another state to have an abortion. We need to know when those laws exist. We need to know what those policies are, that they are attempting to make national policy. We need to know reading. Again, they need to read the Constitution because the Constitution said we have a freedom of speech, freedom of religion. All of those freedoms are being tampered with. We also need to give people good information regarding how many of the actions frequently taken or have been taken have been reversed by the courts. We need to know all about those policies, and we have to listen to shows like you, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, all of those people who were removed from TV. We need to listen to them because they we went from, say, I'm exaggerating the number, maybe 10 Black women in the White House press office to one. That's April Ryan. Because the truth is not being told. And when you tell the truth, you are casted out. And so we have all of these things that we need to address, like food stamps. This is the one thing we don't understand. And I'm not talking about Black people, I'm talking about people. Every law or bill deals directly with a certain category of services.
Mhm.
So a food stamp bill might be under the Department of Agriculture. And in that bill, it could say they're going to eliminate those food stamps. And then when you come saying, oh, no, they're getting rid of food stamps, you didn't read it. Well, you didn't think to read it. And you know, it's there. I must say Jennifer McClellan does an exceptional job speaking up for Virginians. Senator Warnock, exceptional job speaking up for folk in Georgia. But they can't do it alone. They need our votes for those things. So you can look it up. They do everything else with the telephones. Look up the bills that are on the floor, the committee meetings that are being held. But those that are most pressing at this point deal with education, medications, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. Social Security, people, that's our money. And if you heard Elon Musk say he was getting a cut of that because he was doing the work. How does he earn a cut of our Social Security and he hadn't paid it? And by the way, he's from South Africa. He's not American. And so apartheid is what his expertise is. So the policies that he put forth have nothing to do with us because he's leading us to the same situation. But those things that are our lifelines are the policies we need to be most invested. If you do away with school loans. Now, my response to that was, we got HBCUs. Find the history of your HBCUs and see how they existed, how they were established, what they learned. And then we need to talk about FHA, fair housing. Those are the things that are lifelines, and all of them are being attacked. We have a sister, Dr. Fairfax. She's at Norfolk State. That sister is bad. She is bad because she went through 2025 project a couple of years ago, and she dropped the nuggets about what was going to be touched and tampered with. And at the top of the list, education, health care. I don't understand the big deal about health care being an issue, but it's back on the table. Health care is back on the table and nobody's listening. And your taxes. And people, I want to go back for a second to the voting suppression. Poll taxes. Look that up, research that, people. Poll taxes, and they even had something called grandparents or something that the people had to be able to read prior to the Civil War in order to be able to vote. Come on. And so
we're going to, Dr. Hedrington, it's time for a commercial break. We're going to pause right here and we're going to come back with the wrap up. Guys, I know that this is getting good, but it's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back for the wrap up.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
It was almost instant. I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Welcome back once again. This is our wrap up, guys. This show has been absolutely phenomenal. So, my last question for my guest, Dr. Hedrington Jones, is this: collaboration at the heart of progress. How can NABSW, and SWA come together to amplify the collective voice of social workers nationwide? Can you give me one word that would describe that?
Harambe.
Now, please define that.
Unity. Come
Thank you.
together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Guys, I so appreciate your time spending with me this morning. Voices at the ballot: why the future of social work depends on the vote. As we bring this powerful conversation to a close, I want to leave you with this truth. Advocacy begins with awareness, but transformation begins with action. Our profession has always been rooted in the belief that every voice matters, that every system can shift when we stand united, and that progress begins when courage outshines complacency. Today, we are reminded that the ballot box is not just a place of choice, it's a platform of change. Every policy we vote for, every leader we hold accountable, every issue we raise shapes the world. Every client and every profession we cherish. Let's not forget that silence is also a vote. One gives power inequities we seek to dismantle. So, as far as social workers, as advocates, and community builders, let's rise to step boldly into the work that we do and that began with our ancestors. Because why? Social workers, we vote, community rises, and we act, justice moves forward. And we unite our voices together because we protect the very heartbeat of this profession. This is our moment to soar higher, stronger, and together. And until next time, your voice has the power, unbelievable power. Your presence has purpose, and your vote has promise. This is Dr. RC reminding you to keep daring to soar, because advocacy in action is where transformation truly begins. Never be afraid to elevate to new heights as you spread your wings and dare to soar. Have a great rest of your weekend.
This has been Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Come take a ride and soar to your highest level possible each week on Dr. RC's Dare to Soar.